at Sundance for your film, Aliens Abducted My Parents, and now I feel kind of left out. Can you tell us a little bit about the project, your character, and what drew you to it?
Yeah, so that was the first project that I got to do alone because I was turning 18, and so I got to go without my parents and film here in Utah, which is where I've been living for the last 15 years. And I think the thing that first drew me to the project is that obviously one of my parents' friends was directing and wanted to make this film. And so I got the script and was reading through. And at first it was just like a family-friendly film. You had like little cheesy moments here and moments here. And about 2/3 through the film, all of a sudden, boom, it became really real. And every character
Yeah.
got developed. And I was like, oh my gosh, how could I not be a part of this project? This is so fun. And so from there, I just kind of put my all into the audition and ended up getting it from there.
Perfect segue to this next question, but despite your character's circumstances and his past, he has such a positive outlook on life. And he's one of those characters that's going to stay with audiences after the credits roll. What have you learned from playing Calvin that you've now been able to apply to not only your craft, but also your life?
One of the things that's so cool about Calvin is one of my friends that actually just ended up leaving for a few years. But he's so similar to Calvin. He's kind of funky. He's out there and he's just really confident. And that's one of the things that I love about him. And so I think one of the main things that I learned from Calvin is that basically what I've learned from my friend is just being you and like being confident with yourselves and the decisions you get to make is like such a wonderful thing that makes life really colorful and kind of allows you to take control of circumstances for yourself.
There's such a great chemistry that comes off the screen between you and Emma. How are you two able to build the bond necessary for the dynamic that we see on screen?
Well, I mean, first off, Emma's just really wonderful on and off camera. She's a phenomenal actress and just a phenomenal person to be around and know. So connecting with her was really probably the easiest part of filming. As soon as we were on set, we just kind of connected immediately and we still hang out every once in a while whenever she's in Utah or if I'm ever up in Canada. And yeah, I mean, there wasn't too much to do there. She was just really kind and sweet and genuine. And I think that chemistry kind of just came across in front of the camera.
Definitely. I know one of the ways that the two of you bonded was over music. What was on your Calvin playlist? And is that kind of the preparation that you do for each role and create a playlist for each of your characters?
I haven't done that for every character, but there are definitely certain characters that I think speak to that kind of preparation more. Like Calvin, definitely some more folk, kind of open, airy, acoustic music like Beige by Yoklore. I loved that song when I was playing Calvin on Aliens. And with obviously Let the Right One In, Peter, I had very, very different types of music. And that was more like artists that people haven't heard of. Like if you've ever heard of this, it's called Alien Speak by Brevin Kim. That song really spoke to me with Peter, kind of like skater, grungy feel.
Yeah, you're also working with two legends who get to play your parents. What was it like getting to collaborate with Will and Elizabeth?
Oh, phenomenal. I mean, Will is such a strong comedic actor and Elizabeth is such a dramatic, strong actor. And so to be able to get kind of both sides of the spectrum and see that they could also do vice versa was really, really wonderful. And being able to work with them really was just like having a conversation, which is crazy because I've always been so used to like feeling like, oh, this line is prepared this way, or maybe this would be interesting. But talking to them every time it felt different. And that was just such a wonderful experience. And hopefully moving forward, I would love to be able to learn from them and kind of take that into my own work.
Yeah, like you were saying, this film does such a beautiful job balancing drama and comedy. For you as an actor, is one more challenging than the other?
I obviously they both have their own challenges in their own ways, and they're both so fun to kind of dive into because they're so different. But I kind of grew up doing more drama, and this was one of my first comedy roles that I was kind of able to do. So I think that one was a little more challenging for me because I wasn't quite used to it. And Jake, the director, really helped me with that. Just giving me some space to kind of interpret the scene for myself and kind of improv here and there, but then also having his own ideas and being like, I think this would be perfect here or this here. And that's one of the things that I loved about this movie. And also something I didn't mention earlier, but I love that the title kind of feels almost like a line that Calvin would say, because
Yeah.
he'll tell you exactly what you need to know and then trail on with a few more details that you don't quite need, like aliens affected my parents. And now I feel kind of left out. That just totally fits.
Definitely. Speaking of drama, without giving any spoilers, there's a scene when your character confronts somebody from his past at the diner, and you handled that with so much nuance. How did you create the space for yourself to dive into that moment in particular?
You know, I really think it was who I was working opposite from. I mean that was like maybe an hour and a half drive from where I live. And so in that car ride, I was obviously trying to kind of get into the mental space and like kind of sit there. But you can only do so much. And so being able to sit down there with her and really have her talk to me about how she feels about the scene and what emotions are going through her head, and just be like, hey, let's just sit with each other. Let's just do this, was really so beneficial. And also being able to work opposite of her and watch her. I mean, seeing somebody else go there makes it so much easier to try and go there as
Mhm.
well. So that was kind of what I would say.
Yeah, it's a gut-wrenching scene. And you were saying earlier that this project was a lot of firsts for you. Did anything surprise you about the overall experience? What was the biggest takeaway?
I think one of the things that surprised me so much is how much I loved being on set, because I love acting. I mean, it's the thing that I want to do with my life. I would love if this is something that I get to be able to do for the rest of my life. And this set just kind of felt like a second home. Typically sets will kind of take me out of my comfort zone and put me in a new area and kind of make me learn something. But this set really just kind of let me sink into it and let me like really enjoy every moment and kind of
Mm,
take every piece and try and build from it.
yeah, you deliver such a standout performance in this film. Is there a scene in particular that you were really excited for audiences to see at Sundance?
You know, I love that introduction scene when we're just kind of introduced in the classroom, and we're making all those jokes about Star Trek.
Yeah.
I think that scene is everything and nothing all at once, in which you can kind of watch it and be like, oh my gosh, this is the beginning of a moment. Like, you're watching these characters come together, and then it's also nothing because it's just a classroom. You're just doing your thing that you do every day as a kid, and it's really not much. But being able to watch it from both point of views,
Mm. Yeah, that's such a great answer. The film has been incredibly well received at Sundance. What do you think is resonating most with audiences?
Hmm. I think like Jake had said in previous viewings of the movie, is that in Sundance there has been in the past such a thing about hard topics and things that like aren't really meant for full families to watch. Like, it's kind of like you go into it and you're like, wow, that was a wonderful film, and I'm very sad right now. Like, I'm kind of like viewing life in a different way, and I think this film is very different in the way that it views life, and it kind of does give you a greater outlook,
Mhm.
as like, obviously there's hard things that happen, but that doesn't mean that you are worth any less. And also, I think one of my favorite things about it is that it's almost, in my mind, like a metaphor for a, like a life beyond this, of like, maybe somebody has gone on and you miss them and all you want is to be with them, but that doesn't mean that you have any less to give here, or that your time is up here. And I kind of love that.
Yeah, great message and great answer. And you touched upon this a little bit earlier, but you've worked on projects of all sizes, and this very much has a very indie feel to it. What is it about independent filmmaking that excites you as a storyteller?
I think one of the things that excites me is that it really is so collaborative within the independent film kind of area, because they typically take on very hard topics and they typically dive
Yeah.
really deep into them. And to be able to do that, you need such a phenomenal writer to be able to portray it in such a real way, and a phenomenal director that's able to kind of have a coherent vision throughout the entire film, that's able to come to an actor and say, this is what I want you to do, and kind of give it to them. And then just so much kind of trust and team building, which is so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And then outside of this project, what's next for you?
right now I am writing some projects and looking into some things there, because obviously being an actor, you have some time that you're on, go, and you have some
Yeah.
time that you're off, and kind of being able to sit and yeah, I just really love that creative process. So in that time that I have off, I'm trying to write and do a few things like that. And I also was able to go film something in Hawaii for a little bit at the beginning of this year. And yeah, now just pilot season, audition.
Such an exciting new chapter in your career. Have you found that the work that you've done now behind the scenes as a writer has impacted the way that you approach your work on screen as an actor?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously being a first time writer, I'm looking at my stuff and going, no, that's not where I want it to be, or this, not this, or if I got this script, would I do this? Like, would I feel like this project is something I need to do? And like asking myself those interesting questions. Um, but yeah, now I think it's kind of affected, like as an actor now, as soon as I get an audition, I'm like, yo, give me that script. Like I really want to read
Yeah.
this. I want to watch this whole thing. I want to see how they're writing, and then trying to keep track of like certain writers and being like, oh, I love this one. This one really speaks to me. This one kind of like fills this area that I don't feel like I have right now. And yeah, kind of trying to dive into more of like understanding other people that are creating and trying to see like who speaks to me.
Yeah, great answer. I got one final question for you. We touched upon it too. You're such a dynamic storyteller. What's left on your bucket list to either bring to life, either as an actor or as a writer?
Ooh, that is a tough question because there's so many things, so many. I think one thing that's on my bucket list is to be a part of a Luca Guadagnino film. I love his work. It just feels so kind of down to earth, and he just allows the scenes to breathe. And if a car goes past, other kind of things would be like, oh, we have to cut, we have to make sure sound is clean. But he just kind of lets it go and like lets you really sit in that moment. Because like obviously the other character didn't quite hear what they said either. And so you're like, wait, what just happened? And that's something on my bucket list. And Timothy Chalamet is one of my favorite actors. So I would love to be able to work alongside him and just kind of learn from him, because I feel like he's just so grounded and so in the moment, and is just so lovely in each role that he's able to
Mhm.
pick. And so that's another one. And then I guess another one would just be able to produce a show or write a show or film that is kind of changing the way that people can view the world, and kind of making people question things and go, oh, maybe this would be beneficial, or maybe this isn't quite what I'm looking for, or maybe just like in some way, just
Yeah.
kind of affect something in the world.